Hi Akshara, welcome to GHRC Know Your Member talk show.
Thank
So
you.
we should just start with your introduction and background about your current role.
Sure. So, yeah, I am in the profession of mental health or as a psychologist for last 10 years. So I come from a very small town called Sulia, which is in near to Mangalore. And I had my studies I did my BSc in biotechnology and then I went for MSc in psychology. And I also did a lot of other certifications in order to upgrade and upskill myself in terms of therapeutic interventions or in terms of trainings and so on. So when it comes to my work, I have been doing interventions in the space of mental health at individual level, family level, and also organization level. Where when it comes to individuals, it's primarily we are looking at various issues like depression, anxiety, stress, relationship issues, self doubt, trust issues, and so on. So, what I have also done is I do the therapy and also do the coaching for them. And when it comes to family, it is mostly about parenting, conscious parenting, or relationship issues, and so on. And in organizational level, I work with the employees for trainings like stress management, conflict management, team building, emotional quotient, and so on. And I also work with executive leaders in terms of leadership. I have developed a signature program in terms of leadership called Netratvam, which has been widely accepted in the corporate segment. So this is broadly what I have been doing. And recently, I've also started a new company called Vishisht Wellness, which is also working in the space of corporate wellness, employee assistance programs, and also we have come up with some wellness products as well. So this is what broadly I've been doing.
It's a very interesting topic. And what can you help us understand your career journey and what motivated you to arrive at this position?
I would say that psychology was a calling, I guess, because even when I was doing my biotechnology, a lot of people would come and share their agonies in cafeteria or wherever I would meet, and I randomly would suggest some solutions. Again, if I look at it now, providing solution is not the role of the psychologist. Psychologist is has to only facilitate the person to arrive at the solutions. But then at that point of time, I would give my suggestions, and then people would come and tell me that hey, it worked. Things actually helped me in addressing my problems. So that is where I kind of started looking at okay, these are things that are working, and how do we take it forward? So that is where I was inclined to go for masters in psychology. So I felt that a formal understanding and learning will always help me to make me better in whatever I'm doing. And that is how I did my master's in psychology. And then I went on to, because again, once you finish master's, you feel that you don't know anything because there is much more to learn. So that is when I went for my upgradation. I found my gurus who taught me and who brought the best out of me in terms of being a mental health practitioner.
That's fantastic. So, what are the most significant achievement that you have done in this career?
This journey has been a roller coaster ride because initially, when I started my practice, nobody would be open to come to a therapist, right? And a lot of people also used to give free counseling sessions. So, how do we create a career or a profession along with ensuring a proper livelihood out of it was a bigger question for me. So almost for first 2 years, I used to struggle to find clients, or I would treat my friends. I mean, friends or family members or distant relatives, etc., etc. Again, I had to get more of experience, expertise, and so on. Uh,
Mhm.
and then I also started applying psychology in various other fields. In the sense, it could be in this area of fertility treatment, cancer treatment, sports,
Mhm.
and many other areas. And then I also got expertise in some of the techniques like inner child healing, which made me much more pro in terms of my work. And that is how I have grown in the field. And to mention you some of the significant events, TEDx was a very big event that happened for me.
Mhm.
In 2017 itself, I was invited for a TEDx speech. Then there were so many different challenging cases which I have been able to resolve. Somebody who had gone to so many different varieties of therapies for 10 or even more years could get resolved in 4 to 5 months. That was kind of big achievement for me, because the kind of possibilities that they could explore in their life was very different after the therapeutic intervention. And TEDx is one, and then I have also been recognized for my volunteering during the time of COVID,
Mhm.
and I have also been recognized by many educational institutions or corporate leaders for my contribution. So all those things actually keep me motivated. And again, more than the recognition, it is the inner peace and happiness that I get whenever I work with somebody that actually helps me to keep myself up and running.
So it usually is a very good feeling when you get to know that the problem has been solved, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I actually had one of my classmates who used to do this.
Okay, interesting.
To tell me, yeah, this is how it feels when, somebody shares the problem and it is resolved because of us.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
very true.
So, what is the speciality of the therapy that you give that you just mentioned to me about?
Yeah, I mean, see, generally when we talk about or when we think about a psychologist, a lot of people have a kind of idea that it is just about going to the therapist or going to the psychologist and talking about their problem. The psychologist only will listen to the problem and then suggest some methodologies or suggestions, etc., etc. So this is where most of the interventions happen. But when it comes to my intervention, I work at a deeper level. Basically, I use hypnosis as a modality to go to the root of it. Say, for example, today I may be feeling anxious, but the root cause of this anxiety may be somewhere when I was 7 years old. So what we do is I go to the root of the problem, heal that emotional wound or the baggage that the person is carrying, and then bring them back. So once we do that, this is like a psychosurgery, because you never know how deep and how big or how intense is the problem and where it has come from. So once we clear it off and come back to the present time, 95% of the times it doesn't reoccur in that person. So that is what the speciality is, because generally it is also believed by a lot of people that once you start going to a psychologist, then you have to keep going for a lifetime or for a long period of time, etc., etc. But in my case, I have been able to resolve issues within 4 to 5 months, or sometimes even there are cases where I have resolved the whole issue within a session also. So that is what makes it more unique in terms of therapeutic intervention. What I also did is, see, after a therapy, everyone feels good, but my question is, everyone feels good even after talking to a friend or a family member. So then what is the difference between talking to a therapist and talking to a friend? So that is where I wanted to bring a difference there. So what I also did is, after doing therapeutic intervention to address the past issues, I also started coaching them to create a better future. So we could bring out a tangible outcome of a therapeutic intervention. Instead of just saying I'm feeling peaceful or calm, we could see the growth in terms of career, profession, or business in many folds. So that is what makes it unique. And we are able to see a clear cut, concrete output or outcome of a therapeutic intervention.
That's great. So, how are your training programs very different from the others in the city?
Uh, Training programs, when it comes to training programs, I think I should mention this, because a lot of people have a misconception that training is teaching. They just put up some presentations and then they keep reading it or talking about it. So that is where they think that that is the training that they can do. But what I started understanding during my uh, development, or in terms of my learnings, that training has to bring in or develop a skill in the person by the end of the training, right? So how do we do that is a question. if I teach them or if I give them information, they will know about it, but they will not develop the skill, or they will not have some tools to develop those skills in the long run.
Okay.
So, and also one more thing is, I mean, currently information is abundantly available. You don't need somebody to come and tell you. There are so many YouTube videos, or if you Google about it, you can read something. Or today, many people are using artificial intelligence to get a summary or gist of what it is. So, how do we bring in the nuances or the importance of the trainer here is the question. So that is where I mostly conduct experiential based trainings where people actually understand or dive deep into their own self and see what are the triggers that they carry, what are the challenges that they have, and then I also give them tools and techniques that they can practice on a day-to-day basis so that the results are given in the long run. So mostly what happens is after a training program, within a week, you will, I mean, all the things that have happened in the training is gone. But in my training programs, what happens is even after a couple of months, the organizations are able to see the change that has happened from the training program. So that is how I'm different in terms of my trainings.
So how many organizations are currently you are associated with?
I mean, my training keeps happening in multiple organizations from different industries. For example, one day I will be with the tech company, another day I will be with medtech company, another day I will be with edtech company, or sometimes even pharmaceutical companies have invited me. So again, I'm not specific to any sector per se because I'm dealing with the human beings. So I mean, in this last month itself, I have visited almost 10 different organizations to conduct my sessions there.
Okay, that's great. So what are the philosophies that or the principle that guide you to, uh, exceed in this career?
Very interesting question, I think, because philosophies and value systems are the guiding principles for anybody to move further in their life. And for me, ethics is the fundamental principle that I always follow. That if we have to do anything, or if we want to run a business, or if we have to practice any profession, we have to maintain the integrity and ethics of that specific profession or business. So,
Mhm.
for example, when people come to me in terms of for a therapeutic intervention, they always ask me, "Are you going to judge me? Whether my information is going to remain confidential, or what will happen after I leave from here, etc." etc. So there are so many questions. But when they get to know that somebody is there who is maintaining ethics to the utmost level, then they generally build that trust. So I feel that through ethics, you can build trust from the people. That is first thing. Secondly, I always want to be honest in terms of my approach. For example, there can be a case which I may not be able to treat, correct? So
Okay.
in such cases, I am very open and candid in saying that probably you may have to find somebody else to deal with it. For
Mhm.
example, there are cases like schizophrenia, personality disorders, which cannot be treated through therapeutic intervention of the
Mhm.
kind that I practice. So then I openly say, probably you have to go to a psychiatrist. So this is another very important thing. Then providing quality of service is also something that I believe in. So when I started my profession or even business for that matter, we always believed in giving quality. And I also believe that people are ready to pay a little more extra when you are ensuring that the quality is given to the people. So these are the three fundamental principles that I follow. Apart from that, of course, keeping up the time or going by what I say, etc., are also something that I believe in and practice in day-to-day life.
Okay. And what are the challenges that you have encountered throughout your career journey?
Oh, challenges are there every day, and there were a lot of challenges in the early days because, as I told you earlier, earning livelihood itself was a big challenge. And in fact, what also happens is many people do not understand that they need to pay for the consultation of a therapist. Secondly, they also say if somebody has gone through some financial crisis, then they will come and tell me that, hey, I have gone through this financial crisis, and who better than you can understand my problem? So they will postpone the payment. Now, postponing of the payment can happen for a long time. Now, I also have to pay my bills, right? So this is a misuse of the empathy that the therapists carry, is something that I have seen or I have faced a lot.
Mm.
And again, how do we, again, I'm not somebody who always looks at competition in the market, because I always believe that there is abundance of opportunity and everyone is unique in their own way. So everyone will have somebody who is going to buy their products or services.
Mm.
But then how do we keep up the momentum? Because during your entrepreneurial journey, sometimes you are in a very good space, you are with a very good momentum, but there are certain challenges which bring you down. So keeping up the momentum, keeping up the rhythm, and always in this being in the space of creation is also a challenge. But thankfully I have been practicing a lot of things on a day-to-day basis, because of which I'm able to handle all of them.
Mm.
But yes, I would acknowledge that there are so many different challenges and also issues among the colleagues, etc., etc. Team is not functioning properly. All those things keep happening, but that is what makes it more interesting to wake up every day and see the world.
Right. So what are the current trends in your in your industry currently? And what is the advice that you would want to give to the young professionals?
Yeah, I mean, after COVID, I think the mental health space has grown many folds. A lot of people also acknowledge that mental health challenges are real, and they are also quite open to talk about it or go for professional consultation and so on. So at the same time, I'm also seeing a lot of techies coming into the mental health space, because they're seeing that it is going to be a money-making sector in the long run,
Okay.
wherein they are not understanding the nuances of mental health or intricacies and sensitivity of the space. That is one challenge that I'm seeing in the sector. But at the same time, the mental health space is growing exponentially over a period of time. And again, artificial intelligence is also coming to the space. Again, I would say we have to use it mindfully, because it can create or it can break. So this is how the sector is growing. And for young professionals who want to enter this industry, I always recommend that be passionate about this, because mental health needs a lot of passion and commitment to what you do, because nobody is going to come to you and say, hey, I'm keeping well, or how are you doing, etc., etc. Everyone is going to come to you with a mess or with a challenge or with a problem. And when you are working with them for a consistent period of time, every on a day-to-day basis, that can also take away your energy to a larger extent. So we need to be very mindful in recharging ourselves and keep taking it forward in a very positive way. And for that, one has to be extremely committed and ethical also in terms of their work. So if they are able to manage with that and also develop their skills in terms of conducting therapies or right from building rapport with the client, then it can become a great profession for them.
That's right. So one more question I have, one last question, and this is see, you have a lot of customers or the patients coming to you talking about their problem, and that is in a there are like literally a lot of things that they would talk to you about. Would that affect you sometime?
See,
And how do you, prevent that thing happening?
so generally, what I do is early mornings I recharge myself. It's like unless I am ensuring that I'm protected, I'm recharged with my energy, I am clear with my energy space, alignment, etc., etc. I don't take a session. That's fundamentally something that I practice it every day. Then, secondly, when we interact with our clients, it can influence you to a certain extent, and it can also, I mean, there is always a possibility of getting a lot of negative energy from the clients, because they will, whatever the problems that they're talking, will throw a lot of negative energy on you. So cleansing in the morning and cleansing in the evening, both are very essential. And sometimes if it is too intense, then it is also important to cleanse oneself even after each session. So that is why I always say, don't keep back to back sessions. Like 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1 should not be the case for any psychologist. You always should have 15 to 20 minutes of break in between for two reasons. Sometimes your session can extend because of the client wants to speak more. And I am somebody who doesn't believe in keeping a time slot of 45 minutes to 1 hour. My sessions have gone for 2.5 hours also because the therapeutic intervention itself is so intense. Inner child healing is not like something like within the time I can finish it off. But even then, I ensure that there is a gap between the sessions and I ensure that I ground myself before every session. So, yes, as you rightly said, it can impact the therapist himself or herself too. So, we have to be very, very mindful whenever we are working with others.
Okay. So yeah, I am done with my question. Is there anything that you would want to add into this thing?
I mean, a small thing that these days we are open to talk about mental health and the awareness is growing, but much more to be done because I feel that how much ever we speak, still it is lesser. And I always encourage everyone to talk about mental health, go for interventions. There is nobody who is beyond or who doesn't need a therapy. Many people ask me, do I need a therapy? I would say yes. 900% of the people, including the therapists ourselves, need therapy for us. So let's be open to going for a therapeutic intervention and uplifting ourselves and having a good life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights, and I hope there are a lot of people struggling with the problem would reach out to you, reach out to the therapist, and yeah, that's it from my end.
Thank you.
Thank you.